students, welcome back to our online classes. Today we are going to see an amazing topic which is the brightest one, and before letting you the topic name, I am just giving some of the facts on the topic. Have you ever questioned why the sky is blue in color and in the morning it is blue in color, in the mid-noon it is white, fully white, and in the night becomes dark? Maybe in night you can say that the sun is getting set and the total the light from the sun has been stopped. That is due to the revolution of the earth. So why is the sky is blue in color actually? So that is the main reason is when the sunlight, which is a white light, the sunlight is called as white light, which is composed of 7 colors. Can you now guess what are the 7 colors? Yes, the 7 colors are nothing but the rainbow colors, Vibgyor colors. So violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So these are called as Vibgyor colors. So what happens is this 7 colors combine to form white light, or the white light splits to give the 7 colors. So this is the phenomena behind what is happening, why the sky looks blue in color. So what exactly happens is when the sunlight falls on the atmosphere, that is the air around us, it contains many particles like dust particles also. So what happens when these sun rays falls on the atmosphere, these particles will scatter the light, and maximum all the light will be scattered, and the maximum scattered light will be the blue light. So that is why the sky appears blue in color. The maximum scattering takes place only for the blue wavelength of the Vibgyor color. Other all colors are less scattered. That is why we are not able to see those colors. Yes, now we found out the reason that the scattering of light, that is particularly the blue light of the spectrum, is scattered a lot by the particles present in the atmosphere. That is the reason why the sky looks blue. And during the mid of the day, that is 12 noon, the sun becomes closer to the atmosphere, and the scattering becomes very less, and no light is getting scattered, and totally the color looks white. That is, the white light is not divided into its component colors. That is why it was almost looking white in color during the mid of the day. So are you all amazed of this fact, right? Yeah, this is the same fact which is taking place for the rainbow formation. That is scattering of light and dispersion of light. Now I think you can guess what is my topic about. So I'm mostly talking about light, right? Yes, almost. You are very closer to the topic, and your guess is almost right. Today we are going to see about the chapter number 15, light. So let us start the class with the what is the definition of light, the exact definition of light. We have heard about the term light in our from our childhood days. So, but what is the exact definition of light? By knowing the definition scientifically, how the light can be defined. So now let us just see the definition of light and then the properties of light. Light can be defined as a form of energy which can be transferred from one point to the other, that is from the source to the medium. So light does not require any medium for its transfer. That is, light can travel even in vacuum or in space also, where there is no medium. It doesn't require any air medium or water medium. It doesn't require any medium to travel. So these are the definition of light. The light is a form of energy which can radiate or which can emit some of energy when it travels from one point to the other point. Now light travels in the form of waves. So when they travel, they carry the energy as packets of energy. They are called as photons. So these packets of energy are called as photons. Now exactly what happens is there must be a source to produce the light. For example, we take sun. Sun is the major source of energy production, that is the light energy production particularly. So this light energy can be converted into various forms. For example, the sunlight can be used to make food for the plants by the process called photosynthesis. Same way you can use sunlight to convert into electrical energy using solar cells. So these are the different forms and different uses of light. So this is exactly what light is. And now we are going to see what are the properties of light. Now we are going to see about the properties of light. The first property what we are going to discuss here is the light can travel only in straight line. That is, when the light is made to pass through from a source, that is for example a sunlight or a torch light for that matter, that is called as a source of light. So from that, if light rays are made to pass through, they will just travel in a straight line unless and until in between any objects interrupt them, they will just change the direction. That is, either they may get reflected from the direction of their traveling in a straight line, or they may get absorbed by the object which we have kept in between. So based on this, we can classify objects into three types, that is transparent, translucent and opaque. So transparent means they will directly allow the light rays to pass through the object, that is transparent object. For example, if it is a glass window, you can just see what is happening in the other side of the glass, which means you can able to make the light which is just passing through the glass, and just we are able to figure out what is just happening on the other side of the glass also. So this is what is called as transparent. The next one is opaque, that is they will totally absorb the light energy and they will just project the shadow of whatever their images, that is their shape will be projected as a shadow, but then the light will not pass through them. For example, if light is going to when sunlight falls on a tree, you can just see the shade of a tree. So you can observe that the tree shade is just the shadow of the tree which has been projected, and the sunlight has been absorbed by the tree, which is an opaque object. Now the next type is about translucent. Translucent is nothing but it will partially allow the light to pass through. For example, if you just view through a butter paper or an oil patch, you can see partially the other side what is there. So that is the property of translucent materials. Now, how can you say that the light is able to travel only in straight line? For this, we have an activity to do with. Now, we are going to take a straight pipe which is doesn't have any bends at all. And when you view through the pipe, you can see all the other things which is on the other end of the pipe. For example, you have a small U bend and then continues in straight line. Straight pipe with a U bend and then continuing in the straight line. Now, when you view through this bent pipe, will you be able to see the other side of the pipe? Definitely no, because there is a bend in between the pipe. Now, what happens is light cannot bend through this U bend of the pipe and then it will reach the other end. That is not at all possible, because the light will travel in a straight line only. Unless and until you give a straight path for the light to travel, it will not reach the other end, and you cannot see what are the objects present on the other side of the pipe. So this is the activity to prove that light is always traveling in a straight line. The next property what we are going to see is light does not require any medium to travel. That is, it will travel even in vacuum and space. So light travels in air medium, water medium, everywhere you can see the light which is passing through. Even inside the water you can see what is there, and even in air. So normally what we see is the air medium, and even in space you can see only the sound will not be heard in the space. So light doesn't require any medium to transfer. So the light will carry energy and information in the form of waves. So they will agitate the particles and they will travel in the path of a wave form. So higher the wavelength of the wave, lower the energy. Lower the wavelength, higher the energy of the light rays which is passing through. The next property what we are going to see here is about the different phenomena which is taking place with the help of light. So light can undergo different phenomena. For example, light can undergo reflection, refraction, dispersion, scattering, total internal reflection. Many other phenomena are associated with the light.
Properties of light. Light, after being produced from a luminous object, travels in a straight line. A straight line along which the light travels is known as a ray of light. A collection of rays of light is called a beam of light. This is called irregular reflection of light. The beam of light meeting at a single point is called convergent light ray. If the beam of light bends outwards, it is known as divergent light ray. Let us perform an activity. Take 3 cardboards of same shape and size. Put them together and with the help of a needle, make a hole in the center of each cardboard. Arrange these cardboards on a table in an upright position so that all the 3 holes come in a straight line. Now, place a lighted candle at one end in such a way that its flame is in level with the holes. Look from the other end of the boards. You can see the flame of the candle at the other end. Disturb the middle of the cardboard and look again through the hole. Now you cannot see the flame of the candle, as the holes are not in a straight line. This experiment proves that light travels in a straight line. If a beam of light falls on a polished shining surface, then it is reflected back. This helps us to see the image of the object kept in front of the polished surface. A glass plate with silver polishing on one side is a very good surface for the reflection of light. This glass plate is called a mirror.
Now we are going to discuss about the very important phenomena called reflection. By definition, what is reflection? Reflection is nothing but bouncing back of light energy when it falls on any polished surface. That is, when a light falls on any polished reflecting surface, for example, you might have seen the mirror, plain mirror, what you use to see your face daily, and vessels, any steel vessels if you have, you can just see the face in there. Spoon, even in spoon you can see the face. So those are called as a polished reflecting surface. So you can just see the face in the plate also. Silver plate, steel plate, you can just see the face. So those are called as the reflecting surface, polished reflecting surface. So the bouncing back of light rays when it falls on a polished reflecting surface is called as reflection. So what exactly happens during reflection? The light rays is made to fall on a polished surface, polished reflecting surface. Then exactly what happens is the direction of light which is just falling on the light on the surface get changed, and again the light will travel in a straight line. So the angle at which the rays is going to incident on the surface is called as angle of incidence, and the angle at which the rays are going to get reflected from the surface is called as angle of reflection. So now this reflection can just change the direction of light but not the straight line path. You cannot change the straight line path of the light rays, but then you can change the direction of incidence and direction of getting reflected back from the polished surface.
Reflection of light. When a ray of light while traveling from one optical medium to another optical medium, say from air to glass, strikes the surface of separation of two media, is returned by the second optical medium into the first optical medium with a change of angle. The phenomenon is called the reflection of light. Any smooth polished surface can turn the rays of light back into the same medium is called a mirror. A looking glass is the best example of a mirror. Note that besides mirror, other smooth polished surfaces also reflect light. Polished floors and tabletops reflect light. You must have seen the reflection of the moon or trees on the clear, still water. Let us perform an activity to see how light gets reflected from a plain mirror. Take a torch, cover its glass with a chart paper which has 3 slits as shown. Take a smooth wooden plank and spread a white chart paper on it. Fix a plain mirror over the chart paper. Now direct the beam of light from the torch on the mirror. Adjust the position of torch so that the light strikes the mirror at an angle. What do you observe? The mirror changes the direction of light that falls on it. The entire phenomenon is explained like this. Let a beam of light strikes a plane mirror forming an angle I with the normal of the mirror. The beam is reflected back, making an angle of the same magnitude with the normal of the mirror.
Now we are going to discuss about the nature of image formed by a plane mirror. Before going into the topic, what is meant by image first of all? What is the object and what is the image? Object is nothing but, so which reflection you want to make out from a mirror is called as the object. So whichever object you are choosing to make the reflection in a mirror, reflection of the object in the mirror, that is supposed to be your object. And whatever the reflection you are getting in the mirror of the object you have taken is the image. Image of the object, whatever you are taking, it will be a scene in the mirror. For example, you are going to take a plain mirror now. In plain mirror, if you just go and stand in front of a plain mirror, what can you see on the plain mirror? Can you see something else other than your face? Exactly no. You can just see your face. Now here what happens is your face is your object and the image whatever is produced on the mirror is supposed to be the image of your face. It's just projecting the light rays just fall on your face and getting reflected back to the mirror. So this is what is happening. So when you just stand in front of the mirror, light rays just fall on our face and just travels in a straight line. And when you place a mirror in front of that, you're going to capture all the light rays. Now what happens is the light rays falling on you is going to get reflected and again it's going to travel in some direction. So when you keep the mirror in that particular direction, the mirror is going to capture all the light rays which is emerging out of your face and it is going to project your image there. So this is the process which is taking place in case of reflection. So now we are going to see what are the nature of the image formed by a plain mirror. What is the nature of the image? How the image will look like? When you just stand in front of a mirror, what and all you can just observe from the image and you have to compare with the object now. So there are actually 5 properties and I'm going to discuss. Now the first point is the plain mirrors can always project the erect images. What do you mean by the term erect? Erect means straight image. So whatever you just stand in front of a mirror, it just looks as if you're standing, but it will not look as if you're just in a standing in an inverted position. No, it is going to give you a straight position. So that straight position is called as erect image. So without changing the position of the object, just giving whatever just the object is there, the image will be projected on the plain mirror. So that is the best example for the image being erect. Always the plain mirror will give erect images. For that you can compare any object, a candle which is kept in front of a mirror. You can see the candle burning tip will be on the top only and the end will be at the bottom only. Whatever the object is there, same way the image will be there. That is on the mirror, whatever the image of the candle you will be getting, same thing. So this shows that it is a erect image. That is always it will give a straight image. Then the next one is in plain mirrors you can get laterally inverted images. What do you mean by laterally inverted? The word lateral means side. Laterally means sidewise inverted. Laterally inverted means side to side inverted. In our human body, what are the two sides we generally call? Left and right? So we have left side and right side. If you just stand in front of a mirror and lift your right hand, it seems that you are going to lift your left hand in the mirror. Am I right or not? You can just check out, even if you are just standing in front of a mirror and just check, raise your right hand, on the mirror it looks as if you are raising your left hand. If you raise your left hand, as if you are going to lift your right hand. So same thing is called as lateral inversion, laterally inverted image. So oppositely it will act. When you just use your right, it just projects as left, and when you just use your left, it just projects as right side. So the same phenomena is being used in case of naming the ambulance. So have you ever seen the name of the ambulance? If you just write your name, for example, if you just write your name in a sheet of paper and just projected it on the front of a plain mirror, how it looks like? If you write P like this, the P will looks on the opposite side. So these are the different lateral inversions when you just write your name in a sheet of paper and show it to the mirror. Now the same thing happens for ambulance also. Ambulance needs emergency and immediate way out in the traffic also. So when you are driving your vehicle and you just look through your mirror, you can see the ambulance coming at the back. but you can see the name of the ambulance as when it is written in a normal format, the ambulance name will be laterally inverted. That time you will be confused what is this. So that is why already the name of the ambulance is written in inverted form. Now when you project it on the mirror, that is when you view it through your mirror while driving your vehicle, you can see the ambulance name in the straight form. That is why the reason ambulance has been written in the inverted form, laterally inverted form. It will be written on the vehicle, and when you view through your mirror, you can see the straight version of the word ambulance, and you can just leave way for emergency purpose. So that is the main reason, and this is called as lateral inversion. Then third one, what we are going to see is, wherever you are going to stand, the same distance only you will get the image. Where the object is placed, that the same distance from the mirror, at the same distance in the image also it will be maintained. So for example, when you go very closer to the mirror, even the image looks very closer to you. When you go away from the mirror, the image will also look away from the mirror. Am I right? So this means that the distance between the mirror and the object, at the same time the distance between the mirror and the image will be maintained at the same. So same distance will be maintained for object and mirror and image. And the fourth property what we are going to see about the nature of image will be, the same size of the object can be obtained. So when you just look on the plane mirror, you will not look magnified or you will not look diminished. Diminished means small in size. Magnified means enlarged in size. Neither you will look enlarged nor you will look diminished. You will look exactly what size you are, right? So that is the very important property of the plane mirror. That is the nature of the image formed by the plane mirror. Same size of the object can be obtained in case of image also. The last what we are going to see is, the image formed will be a virtual image. It will not be a real image. That is, the image will be formed behind the mirror. It will not be formed in front of the mirror. The image will be formed behind the mirror. That is the nature of image formed by the plane mirror. It is always virtual and erect image will be formed. Virtual, erect image, same size of the object, laterally inverted, and it is of same distance from the mirror and to the object also for the image. So both the way the distance will be maintained the same. So these are the 5 different characteristics features that we can observe when you just stand in front of a mirror. The first one is erect image. You can always get a erect straight image. The next one is same size of image can be obtained. Whatever the size you project the object, same size or the image will also be, you will be getting the image of the object. The third option is, the third one is about the laterally inversion. Laterally inverted means when you just lift your left hand, it seems that you are lifting your right hand. So opposite it will be projected on the mirror. The next one is about the virtual image. That is, it is always formed behind the mirror. The image will not be formed in front of the mirror. And the last one is, it is of the same distance for object to mirror. The same way mirror to the image also. When you come closer to the mirror, the image will also be coming closer to you. When you just move away from the mirror, the image will also move away from you. Whatever the distance you are maintaining, the same distance even your image will be projected. These are the different properties of the nature of image formed by plane mirror. Now we will be seeing a short video, an animated video on the properties of plane mirror image formation.
From our previous video, we know what virtual images are. Virtual image is the image which appears to be formed at a position behind the mirror. But in reality, it isn't formed there, as no light rays reach behind the mirror. Now, the image formed by a plane mirror has some properties or characteristics. One of the characteristics is what we've already seen. The image formed by a plane mirror is virtual, or in other words, it's not a real image. The other characteristic of an image formed by a plane mirror is that the image formed is always erect or upright. For instance, if you look at your image in the mirror, you will see that it's straight or erect. But will it always be erect? Not necessarily. Maybe it's inverted. Well, we can think of inverted as opposite of upright. Yes, an inverted image means an upside down image. Concave mirrors can form inverted images. The plane mirror never forms an inverted image. The third characteristic of an image formed by a plane mirror is that it's of the same size as the object is on the other side of the mirror. For example, if the height of this person is 4 feet, then the image's height will also be 4 feet. And if I bring the plane surface of the circular coin near the plane mirror, then both the coin as well as its image will have the same diameter. The image formed by a plane mirror is not upside down, but it's laterally inverted. What do I mean by this? When we raise our left hand, the image in the mirror raises its right hand. Our left is the image's right, and similarly, our right is the image's left. So an image follows left-right reversal. So we say that an image formed by a plane mirror is laterally inverted. Now we come to our last point. Finally, the image formed is at the same distance from the mirror as the object is. You can verify this observation yourself. All you need is a chessboard and any chess piece, say a king. Keep the plane mirror at the edge of the board as shown. Look at the position of the king as well as its image. Are they both at the same distance from the mirror? Well, you can count the number of squares in front of each. For the object, there are 7 squares in front and the same for its image as well. You can move this king anywhere on the chessboard and find out if its image is always at the same distance from the mirror as the king is. So these were the characteristics of the images formed by a plane mirror. Let's quickly review them. First, the image formed by a plane mirror is virtual and not real. Second, the image formed is always erect or upright. Third, the size of the image formed is the same as the size of the object placed on the other side of the mirror. And lastly, the image formed is at the same distance from the mirror as the object is.
Thank you, dear students. Meet you in my next video session.